My husband is 40, and I'm 44 male. We've been married for 20 years and together for 22. Our adoptive son is 24. He's Black and we're not. I'm only mentioning this because it's relevant to the story later. This does not take place in the U.S. Let me give a little bit of background to the situation. About 19 years ago, my husband and I were driving on a highway back from a short vacation when along a particularly long stretch of road, absolutely no buildings around, only a ton of grass and hills as far as the eye could see, we spotted a little boy just sitting by the side of the road. As I mentioned, there was nothing around for miles and no cars close to where the boy was, so we decided to stop and see if everything was okay. When we got closer to the boy, let's call him Jason, fake name, it was very easy to see he was dirty and malnourished since the only thing he had on was a diaper. He was so small, it didn't look like he could be older than a toddler. Later found out he was kindergarten age. We asked him why he was alone, and he told us, Mommy and Daddy put him here and told him to wait. There was no cell signal, so we did the sensible thing and brought him back to town to the nearest police station. To make a long story short, CPS was called. We discovered his parents were some druggies that were on the run from a felony. The only other relative Jason had was his grandmother, who was very mentally ill and couldn't take care of him, and we felt terrible. He went into foster care soon after, but we felt bad for the kid and just kept in touch with his caseworker. I had, and still do, an extremely well-paying job at the time. I could easily afford a decent lifestyle for a small family, so after a few months of discussions between ourselves, the caseworker, and some bureaucracy, we formally adopted Jason. Now, on to the situation. About 3 years ago, Jason's parents were released from prison on parole. They contacted him only a short time later in hopes of reconnecting. Prior to that, they'd sent him a few odd letters here or there, but nothing substantial. At first, he was hesitant to talk to them, but he ended up caving and meeting them for lunch one day. I'll admit that a part of me was a bit jealous and apprehensive of what could happen, but I could see that it was really something my son wanted to do, so for his sake, I swallowed those concerns and supported him through it. It wasn't very long, about 3 months I think, that he started to pull away from us. At first I chalked it up to him being excited to talk to his bio parents after so long, to talk about what had been going on in his life, spend some time with them, etc. It started to bother me when he'd cancel plans with us at the last minute because Mom had an emergency, or Dad really needs me to help him with something today, or whatever other excuse he could come up with. He used to come over to our house at least once a week and call every day or so, but now we were lucky if he even came by that month. Again, I thought that was just temporary, that he was just excited, and soon enough he'd start spending some time with us again. We were overjoyed when he invited us over to dinner one night. It was supposed to be a family gathering, us and his bio parents and his wife, girlfriend at the time. I wasn't exactly keen on meeting the people who had left my son for the dead on the side of the road, but I decided to give them the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they'd atoned and changed. Besides, he's our son and we love him. We had to at least try. To say the dinner was a disaster is an understatement. His bio mom was extremely rude to my husband and me the entire night, making passive-aggressive comments, homophobic and racist remarks every chance she got. His father was much the same. It all came to a head when she straight up called us a curse word and threw a glass at my husband. A screaming match followed, and we left soon after. The next day, Jason apologized profusely and promised they'd never do something like that again. I told him neither my husband nor I wanted to have anything to do with them and would appreciate it if he understood that. He seemed to, but he continued to pull away the next few months. And that leads to what happened last week. Jason proposed to his girlfriend about 9 months back and has been preparing for the wedding since. Of course, we were overjoyed for him, but a few months went by and no invitation came. Whenever we asked, Jason would say that they hadn't been sent out yet and change the subject. Well, last week, my husband saw a Twitter post from one of Jason's friends, his groomsmen, that went a few weeks back with the invitation in his hands. We confronted Jason about it the next time he came over, only for him to drop the bomb on us, saying that we hadn't been invited. We asked why, and he said his parents didn't want us there and wouldn't come if we did. I was furious. I asked him how we could choose those pieces of trash over us. Why were they so important? What did we do to deserve this kind of treatment? His answer? They understand me better. They're my people. At this point, my husband was crying, asking how we could do it. I've only ever been truly angry a few times in my life, and this moment managed to top all of them. I threw him out immediately then and told him never to return, that he wasn't our son anymore. I spent the rest of the day hugging my husband and trying to calm him down. The next day, I canceled everything we'd paid for the wedding, which was basically everything important, even the ones we couldn't get a refund for. Of course, Jason had the gall to call and scream at me, asking how I could do that to him. Where would he find replacements for a wedding that was supposed to happen only a few months from now? I told him I didn't care and said, maybe you should ask those two leeches you call parents for help. 19 years of my life spent raising and loving a kid that I considered my own son, only to be treated like garbage, giving blood, sweat, and tears so he would have a good life and all the love we could possibly give. And this is what we get as a reward? As for why I'm asking if I'm the idiot, some people have been calling and messaging us, mostly Jason's friends and a few of our family members, calling us heartless and monsters for doing what we did to him. And that got me questioning if I went too far in anger. After all, parents are supposed to love unconditionally, right? But if so, how do we ever get over something like this? How can we deal with this feeling of betrayal? Are we justified in feeling like this? So, am I the idiot for disowning my son? Edit. For clarity, my husband and I did not legally marry in 2004. The max we could do at the time was enter a legal partnership, which we did. We did have a small private ceremony and have considered ourselves husbands ever since. We did legally marry as soon as it became legal, though. As for Jason's adoption, the foster system here is an absolute mess. Now, at the time, 2 men adopting a child would have been hard, yes, but not impossible, especially since his caseworker was in favor of it after we'd had legal guardianship of him for a while. I have an extremely well-paying job, and even if you can barely feed yourself over here, there's a good chance you'd be able to adopt. There's a ton of kids in need, and the system is oversaturated, so it wasn't that hard to get it going. Not being invited to the wedding isn't the reason why I'm mad. It stings, sure, but I'm angry at Jason for what he said and his complete lack of consideration for me and his father. We were the ones to raise him, to love him. We were there when he first rode a bike, every single one of his robotics competitions, piano recitals, first breakup, disagreements with friends, sleepless nights helping him study for exams, etc. I love him with all my heart. He's my son, and he let his bio parents treat us the way they did, and didn't even have the decency to tell us we weren't invited to the wedding. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, and the one that really hurt. Not the idiot. Did he seriously expect you to pay for a wedding you weren't even invited to? The audacity of that has my blood boiling. Let's see how long the wife stays when she realizes all her money's going to her mooches, in-laws, or when they move in because they can't afford their rent. Yes, that marriage isn't lasting. Anyone who ditches 2 loving parents for a pair of drug addicts is probably not someone you'd want to marry. If he's that cruel to the parents who raised him, he will surely choose them over his wife. OP, I'm sincerely sorry for your loss. This is every adoptive parent's worst nightmare. Jason's parents are criminal trash who left a very young kid in diapers on the side of the road, yet he chose them over his parents, who spent 19 years raising him. Definitely an idiot move on his part. OP, not the idiot. Jason will find out the hard way he can't depend on his bio parents. Let him. In the meantime, block him, his fiancée, and everyone coming at you. You found who your actual friends are in this situation. My brother has been pushing me to get closer to his girlfriend, Mary, together 3 months. I've done my best to get to know her, initiating dinners, trying her hobbies with her, etc. But we honestly don't really get along. I personally think she's a snob. She complimented my designer bag, but took the compliment back when she found out it was thrifted. As in literally said, "Yikes, I'd take that back." In contrast, she thinks I lack culture and sophistication. Also something she's mentioned when trying to convince me to do a makeover with her. The issue is that I'm getting married this year, and my brother's really been trying to get her involved. I put my foot down with the bridal party since they've only been dating for 3 months, and I don't know her, but he insisted that I invite her to the bachelorette. It was initially supposed to be super low-key and local. Mary tried to push for something more extravagant, but it wasn't in my budget. When I wouldn't budge, she told us something came up that weekend and she couldn't go. I was later surprised by my friends who had come together to organize a lavish weekend through favors and points. E.g., one of my friend's aunts works for a spa, so she was able to get discounted packages. Another used her travel points to book a suite, etc. I was not told about this and was truly and happily surprised. The issue is that Mary found out when we posted pictures, and she was angry. My brother says I deliberately left her out, but she told me she was busy. Mary said that if she had known what the weekend was like, though, she would have rearranged her schedule. I feel conflicted because I suspect my friends didn't tell Mary on purpose, but they claim they made these plans after Mary bowed out and didn't reach back out since she was busy. My brother still says I should have double-checked and made more effort to let Mary know about my plans. Not the idiot. Your brother needs to back off. You don't need to be a snotty girlfriend's bestie. You extended an invitation to your bachelorette, but she declined the invitation, feigning she had other plans. Your friend surprised you with a spa weekend. This situation falls into the category of not your problem. If Miss Snooty Patooty's schedule was too busy for a night at Dave & Buster's, she's still too busy for a spa weekend. Your brother's delusional if he thinks his girlfriend matters to anyone but him. Right? In other words, Mary's saying, I don't care about you enough to rearrange to celebrate you, but I do care about me having a good time enough to figure out scheduling so that I can have a good time for me. That's the whole essence of it all. I can't wait to read the Bridezilla stories about Mary's successful attempt to get her brother to propose at her at OP's wedding, of course. Your brother is missing all the red flags in this woman. He needs to run. If she couldn't spend time with his sister low-key, she's not invested in his family. You don't owe her a single thing. Hopefully he'll break up with her, and he'll be grateful he doesn't have to see her in any of your wedding photos. I need an outside opinion on this. My wife and I have 2 kids who are both in daycare. My wife will take the morning shift, which includes getting the kids up, getting breakfast, and taking them to daycare. I handle the night shift, which is usually getting the kids from daycare, doing dinner, and starting to get them ready for bed. Usually she gets home around 6:30 to 7, and the whole family has about 30 minutes together before the kids' bedtime. We usually spend time reading to them. She has to travel an hour, depending on traffic, to work each way. So the kids go to daycare at 8 in the morning, and I pick them up around 4. I work from home, starting at around 7 and ending around 3 to 3:30. The issue is around breakfast. We agreed that I would make dinner each night, and she would make breakfast. She already makes food for the kids, so it's literally just making an extra one of what she was already making. She has not made it for me for the past month, or neglected to tell me it's done. I've asked her just to give a general time, but she keeps switching up the schedule. One day they're eating at 7 in the morning and getting dressed. On other days, she gives them toast before getting into the car. I've talked to her multiple times and explained that it's not considerate. We argued, and she told me I was home, so I should just make my own food. I explained that I may be home, but I was doing my job. Yesterday, she didn't make anything, and I had enough. When she came home, I didn't make her anything for dinner. When she asked, I told her she was home and could make her own food. This started a huge argument, and she called me an idiot. Edit. I have the kids more than her. She has them for an hour in the morning, and I have them for 2 to 3 every night. You are the idiot. Dude, you're home. You can easily have a bowl of cereal in the morning while you work. She's getting the kids ready and out the door. Dinner's very different. Don't be like this. You're acting petty and adding friction to your marriage over breakfast. Mornings are by nature more chaotic and less regimented. Expecting your breakfast to be served to you on a schedule is bizarre. Grab a banana when you wake up before you work. How hard is it to make yourself some toast or cereal in the 5 minutes before you saunter over to your computer and log in to work? Punishing her by not making dinner is also bizarre behavior. Ask yourself, has it worked or improved your situation in any way? Over 6 months ago, my 36 female, husband 37, asked for an open relationship after 14 years together. I didn't like the idea, and it turned out he had already started an affair with his coworker. I tried to at least set some boundaries around what this open relationship would look like, but he violated every one. He then decided we would have a don't ask, don't tell open relationship. 2 months ago, he told me he wanted to divorce me for this other woman. We're still cohabiting for the time being and have yet to file for divorce for practical reasons. However, I have fully accepted it's happening. We've been doing so amicably until last week. Shortly after my husband told me he wanted a divorce, I met someone unexpectedly. It's progressed into something romantic within the past couple of weeks, and nothing physical has happened yet, nor will anytime soon. I assumed my husband suspected something, but I wasn't about to bring it up since we were separated and he was with someone else. I was on the phone with this person behind a locked door in my bedroom when my husband barged in to ask about dinner. It was early afternoon, and he already had dinner plans with our daughter. He must have been standing outside the door because he overheard some of the admittedly spicy conversation on the phone. He was furious with me and has mostly been giving me the silent treatment since. He was upset that I was having such a conversation while he and our daughter were in the house, though he's done the same with his girlfriend, that I've moved on so fast, etc. I was really shocked by this. Not only did I think he'd already at least suspected, and it seemed fine with it, but he doesn't want me anymore. So why is he upset that someone else does? He behaves as if, and seems to believe on some level, that I'm cheating on him. I've never seen him so upset, and I feel very bad. Have I done something wrong? Is he right to be so upset? Am I the idiot? Excuse me? You moved so fast? You? He went about his affair in a very strange and unethical way, and you do everything above board after he asked for a divorce, and you're the bad guy? Are you supposed to pine away from him in a convent for the rest of your life? What a douche. He's just upset because he doesn't appreciate you and didn't think anyone else would want you. He thought he was special and deserved his AP, and you didn't appreciate him in his own twisted mind, which is why he had to seek someone else. He's trying to guilt you for doing exactly what he's been doing. The difference is that you did it after he requested an open marriage and divorce. Make sure to find your own lawyer and start getting your own ducks in a row. Make sure his cheating butt is exposed to your family before he writes the narrative and makes you look like the bad guy. Talk to your lawyer first so they can tell you how to handle telling the families. But remember, you are still legally married, so don't give him anything he could use in the divorce. Even in a no-fault divorce, he might use it just to help with his child support or alimony. Better safe than sorry. So if you can have some proof of his infidelity prior to your open relationship agreement, get it and keep it just in case. Don't let him make you feel bad. That's a power move. He should no longer hold that power over you. Good luck.